Hello amigos, and welcome to this tutorial on how I'll show you how to make this mushroom buddy. You'll need yarn. You can use any type of yarn. In this case, I'm using Burnet Blanket. I'm using red and ecru. Sorry, I don't remember the color names. But Hobie in a regular chenille yarn in pink. You also need safety eyes or felt eyes if you prefer. And for the dots, you can either embroidery them, make bobble stitches, or do felt like I did. You also need a hook size that corresponds with the yarn that you're going to use. Let's start making this guy. All right, we're going to start with making a magic circle, and we're going to single crochet 8 into the magic circle. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And always be careful when tightening your magic circle that you don't snag your yarn. All right. And also, you can use a stitch marker to mark the end of your row. I like to do the end of my row. You can do the beginning of your row, whatever works for you. All right. The second row is going to be single crochet in the first stitch and then increase in the next stitch. Single crochet in the first stitch, increase in the next. And you're going to repeat this 3 more times for a total of 4. Let me count again. And you should have a total of 12 stitches at the end of this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, for row 3, let's repeat the same pattern of single crochet in the first stitch and increase on the next stitch. And you're going to repeat that 6 times. So single crochet, increase, and let's count to make sure we have 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Perfect. All right, let's move on to row 4. For row 4, we're going to change up the pattern. We're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 in each stitch, followed by an increase. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, now an increase. And we're going to repeat this 5 more times for a total of 6. So we're at the end of our row 4, and we should have a total of 24 stitches. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. Perfect. Now let's do our row 5 through 7. So we're going to crochet for 3 rows, 1 single crochet into each stitch. So let's start. And what I'll do is I'll fast forward up until the point where I have all 3 rows complete. I'll see you at that point. So now we're at the end of row 7. Now you have a decision to make. This pattern comes with 4 different ruffle types. Let me show you. This is the first one that we saw, which is the no ruffle. Then we have the small ruffle. This is the small ruffle. Then we have the medium ruffle and the extra large ruffle, or large ruffle. I forget what I named it. But you have 4 different options to choose from. I'm going to show you how to do the no ruffle one. To make the no ruffle option, we're going to single crochet into the front loop only for the full round. But before then, I like to mark my back loop only of this first stitch so that way I can find it later, because we're gonna work into that later. All right, let's go ahead and let's do row 8 and single crochet 24 into the front loops only. All right, I've completed my row 8, and now I'm going to fasten off this yarn. I like to do 2 slip stitches to sort of taper and reduce that sharp decline that happens. And then I like to do an invisible fasten off. So after doing the 2 slip stitches as normal, I'm gonna cut my yarn. I'm going to take out my yarn from here. I'm going to thread my yarn through a darning needle. And then 1 stitch over, I'm going to go in and out, then go through the slip stitch, and through the bottom stitch. And then I'm also going to turn this inside out so you can see better. I'm going to grab a few stitches, that way I'm through the other side of where the back loops are, so that way I can just hide it inside my cap of my mushroom. And you want to check the other side to make sure you don't have a harsh line anywhere. So that's how you do an invisible fasten off. Okay. Now that your fasten off is complete, we're going to work row 9. We're going to work the base of the mushroom. Make sure you grab your new yarn color. And there's many ways that you can fasten or attach the new yarn. I personally like to use the single crochet method, or you can use the normal slip stitch method. So for the slip stitch, you can do a slip knot, or you make a knot, you work in, do a slip stitch, or some people like to yarn over, bring it up, and slip stitch like that, and then work over the yarn. I personally do a single crochet attach. I just grab my yarn, I go into the loop, make sure I have a little bit of tail because I want to work over it, and I do just a quick single crochet fasten. Whatever you do, make sure that you make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, whether it's the slip knot, the slip stitch. Make 1 single crochet into that first one, regardless of what you do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work a pattern of single crochet, then decrease. And we're going to repeat that 8 times. So I already did my first single crochet here, and now I'm going to try to find my back loop of my next stitch, and then the next back loop of my next stitch. This may be a little bit of a challenge, trying to find your back loops depending on what type of yarn you use. And you just should know that you should end up with a total of 16 stitches at the end of this round. So I'll continue working these single crochets, decreases, and meet you at the end of this row. That's okay if you struggle with making this, as long as you have 16 single crochets at the end of this row, you should be fine. All right, so let's go ahead and count and make sure if I did it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take out this stitch marker because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to add my regular stitch marker here to keep track of my rounds. Let's go into round 10 and we're going to single crochet 16 into the front loops only. Okay, now we're at the end of a row, a round, and so we need to make sure that we have 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Perfect. All right, so for the next two rounds, so rows 11 and 12, we're going to work 16 single crochets as normal. I'll meet you again at the end of these two rounds. All right, we're at the end of round 12. We have 16 single crochets for 2 rows done. Now we're going to do row 13, and we're going to do a pattern. We're going to do single crochet in the first stitch and then increase on the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that 8 times. Single crochet, increase. All right, we have finished our row 13. We should have a total of 24 stitches. Let's count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24. Perfect. Now we're going to do row 14, and we're going to do 24 single crochets all around. We've completed row 14, and now we're ready to stuff. Let's stuff this little mushroom buddy. Now to stuff the mushroom, you want to first stuff the cap. You want to make sure you add enough into the cap. That way it's nice and round and you don't have like a little point up here. Okay, now I've stuffed the mushroom cap enough. I want to add the eyes now. And we're going to add the eyes between rows 13 and 14. So I'm going to use safety eyes. I'll put them right here. And then another one right here. You want to do it with about 2 to 3 stitches in between, or whatever looks right for the type of safety eyes that you've selected. Okay. Now at this point, I don't continue stuffing until I've done one decrease row, and that's what we're going to do next. We're going to work row 15, and we're going to work another pattern row, but this is going to be a decrease row. And we're going to do single crochet and then decrease the next 2, and repeat that for a total of 8 times. So single crochet, decrease, and we should have a total of 16 again. Let's give it a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Perfect. Now your next row is going to be your last row. This is going to be a total of 8 decreases. I like to work half of it, and then I can stuff my mushroom. We'll do that now. Okay. So there's a little trick that I like to do here because I like to keep it a little bit squished so this part can be a little bit more pronounced and not to be too round and it can lay flat. So play around with your stuffing a little bit here. I'm going to remove my stitch marker so that way it's not in the way. Make sure I get it into the stem and now into the sides. Make sure the little dent has stuffing because I want it to be kind of like the mouth and the cheeks. So that's kind of like why we did that increase in there to make it kind of look poofy at the end. So I like to stretch it out a little bit to give it that nice little shape, give it that nice little bend, the little squished look at the bottom, and then keep the bottom as flat as I can so that way my mushroom can stand and not topple over. So I'm gonna work a little bit, a few more single crochets. I have 4 left for the decreases. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the last one. Now this is not standard, I just like to do a slip stitch there to do my fasten off. Right, so I cut my yarn. I'm gonna leave a long tail. I'm gonna show you why in a moment. But before that, I'm gonna make sure that he stands on his own. He doesn't topple over, so that means I have to add more stuffing. To the sides where he just falls over. And again, you want to keep that bottom part nice and poofy. That way, do the test, stand him, and if he stands, you're done. All right, let's go ahead and close his little booty hole. My kids laugh every time I tell them. So I like to go in and then back. I go out and then in and through the next one. And repeat that all around. In and out through the next one. Then in and out. And then tighten it up. You can see that it's almost flat, so it has a nice base to sit. So you're just gonna sew that a few times shut. Now the other thing that I like to do, and this is just me being super extra picky, is where we did the adding of the yarn, there's kind of like a little hole. Do you see that there? I like to close that a little bit, just because I'm just picky like that, right? And so I go in through where I attached it originally, through my last stitch from that row, and that tightens it up a bit. And I just like to clean it up that way. All right. I'm just gonna bring it down here so I can just hide my tail. All right, we're almost done. So the next part is we're gonna do the little cheeks. Take any of those little, make sure he's still, squeeze him in a little bit so he can look bouncy. Do the test that he can stand by himself. Perfect. All right, let's do the little cheeks. Let me just get a little bit of my pink yarn here to do the blush for the cheeks. For the blush, I'm gonna go in through the side. I'm just gonna go right there next to the eye. Pull as much as I can. I'm gonna leave that tail there so I can tie it later. I'm gonna go over 2 stitches only and come back out where I originally had my previous yarn, like that. I'm gonna purposely try to push the yarn the second round up top and come out the other end of the other eye. Make sure it stays on top because I like the little round shape it does. I like a little shy blush. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing here. And try to go over 2 so we can have that same little shy blush. I'm gonna go down so that way it doesn't. It looks the same. All right, just fix it up a little bit. I'm gonna come back in the same spot and come back out where this tail is. And do a knot. All right. Then you just hide your tails. And the last step is to add the little dots. You can add little dots with felt. Like I showed you before, here are the felts that you can make, or you can embroidery them with white yarn, and you just go in and sprinkle it through wherever you want across the top and do a few dots. Or you can do bubbles. When you were doing the cap, you can replace any of these single crochets with a bobble. You can try with 3 or 4 bobble, play with the bubbles to see how big or more pronounced you want it. So this is awesome. If you want a copy in a PDF format, I do have available in my shop. I also have this pattern available in my blog. Either which way, I hope you enjoyed this Mushroom Buddy. Happy crafting!